explain it here and there, and then we will talk about some issues that hopefully will come up. Can it come? Okay, let's do it again.
It's rolling.
Okay. I'm being told that we are in Pasuk Yud Aleph. So let's start with Pasuk. Okay, summary of what we saw so far. There is a guy by the name Adonia who uses a situation, exploit his father's situation. His father is completely inactive, nothing helps him. And Pasuk K says, "V'Adonia ben Chagit mitnaseh lemo ani emloch." Mitnaseh lemo means it came from him. And usually the word mitnaseh had a bad connotation. You know, the other place in the Torah that we have this word in this hataya of mitnaseh is in the parsha of Korach. Umadua titnasu al kehal Hashem. When a person takes the helm by himself, not because he was elected, he forced himself on others. The Tanakh call it mitnaseh. Korach said, you and your brother Aaron, you appointed yourself. You are self-appointed to this job. We don't believe that Hashem choose you. Ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim. So the word mitnaseh already, like the Navi who wrote the Tanakh, he knows what the word mitnaseh is, and therefore he described in a very sharp word everything that Adoniah is doing. ויעש לו רכב ופרשים ו50 איש רצים לפניו, and we saw that he's not the first to do it. When Absalom decided to take over from David, he does the same. And we are going to see that there are few comparisons between what Adoniah is doing to what Absalom did, which is surprising as I'm going to conclude. והיו דבריו עם יואב, ולא עצבו אביו מימיו לאמור מדוע ככה עשית. His father never said anything bad to him. וגם הוא טוב תואר מאוד. So first of all he thought, my father doesn't care. He never said any bad thing to me, so apparently he thinks that I'm good. Reason number one. The other one, והוא גם טוב תואר מאוד. We spoke about it a few times. People are looking for a good-looking guy. Believe it or not. It plays a role in election, in the people who represent others. And he was good looking. I guess that he noticed that, you know, when he walks on the streets, people are turning their head, and the girls for sure. ואותו ילדה אחרי אבשלום. And he was the next in line after Absalom. So Amnon died. Kilab, we don't hear anything about him. He was the second. The third one was Absalom. The fourth one is Adoniah. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. But he's a politician too. והיו דבריו עם יואב בן צרויה, the head of the army, or I would say the former head of the army, the person that was in the first days of David and was removed from position and power at the end of the days of David, because the thing that he did with no confirmation, with no consulting with David, because he knew, or he thought, and maybe he was right, he knew better what is good for David and what is not. So he had the political power and maybe the army. The other one is Eviatar HaKohen, so he had the religious power. ויעזרו אחרי אדוניה. ויעזרו אחרי אדוניה. So they walk after Adoniah. It's I want you to pay attention to the word ויעזרו אחרי אדוניה. It should be וילכו אחרי אדוניה. What is ויעזרו אחרי אדוניה? You never heard it, you know, you don't need to know much Hebrew, but it's a little bit strange. But I'll tell you what I think. ויעזרו can be read also ויעזרו. They were helped by Adoniah. These are the people from the old guard. And now, after they were a little bit removed from power by David, this was a good opportunity to take back their power. So they helped him, but they were helped too. It was like a mutual relationship. וצדוק הכהן, ובניהו בן יהוידע, ונתן הנביא, ושימי ורעי, והגיבורים אשר לדוד לא היו עם אדוניהו. They did not join Adoniah because he didn't call them. And, as I said, one in particular is very important. While the camp of Shlomo, we are going to see, had a Navi, Natan, Adoniah did not have him. And it's interesting that the Tanakh is not telling us even that he tried to recruit Natan. Imagine that. If I would try to assume power, I would try to recruit Natan on my side. That's very, very important. Beyond the Mishkan and the Kohanim, the Navi is the person that confirmed that Hashem chose the king. But for some reason, he preferred not to, which is interesting.
Maybe
yes.
he knows that he won't join him.
Maybe. You might be right. Yeah. Now, let's see how he, I don't want to say assume, he assumed power, but we are going to see something very interesting in the Psukim. Because you know, the story that we are about to read now in Pasuk Tet will appear 4 times in Perek Aleph. It's like everyone who read Pygmalion know that a story can be told from different angles, and this is a perfect story. We are going to hear what happened in the next Pasuk. We are going to hear what Natan is telling David. We are going to see what Bathsheba is telling David. So we have here, and we have the story as Natan tell it to Bathsheba. So we have 4 accounts of the following story, and what we are going to do most of tonight is to try to see how each one, or what everyone here reports, and what is important to him. ויסבח אדוניהו צאן ובקר ומריג. There is, first of all, if you want people, Jewish people to come, throw a party. עם אבן הזוחלת אשר אצל אין רוגל. It was well known that kings are anointed on water because it's like a siman, like the water which are going and flowing, so will be the malchut. So they went to Ein Rogel, which is not a well, but a spring, where today there is like an Arab neighborhood. It's on the way to Al-Aqsa. ויקרא את כל אחיו בני המלך ולכל אנשי יהודה עבדי המלך. So he called all his brothers who were born after him. ולכל אנשי יהודה עבדי המלך. As we explained last time, he was born in Hebron, in Yehuda. And his political power, he tried first of all the closest people, the people of Yehuda, which in a way uproot the major achievement of David to unite the nation. When you going with the people of Yehuda, you exclude the rest of the nation. So for political power it was important, but you have to understand that David in his last years, that's what he tried to do, to unite the nation. And in many ways, what Adoniah here is doing, I think, is going backwards. And we are going to see why in the middle of the shir. ואת נתן הנביא ובניהו ואת הגיבורים ואת שלמה אחיו לא קרא. So, this is a statement. When you don't call certain people, you exclude them, and who knows what else. So let's see what happened, and let's see what did not happen. That's important. So what happened in Pasuk Chet? How would you describe it? So Adoniah with his people are in Ein Rogel. What are they doing? What title you would give this Pasuk?
Which Pasuk?
Pasuk Tet. on Ein Rogel. Try to imagine this place, Ein Rogel, which is not far away from Brechat HaSultan of today, not far away, maybe 200 meters. And there are many people there, the people of Yehuda, the Bnei HaMelech, the Yoav ben Tzruya, Evyatar HaKohen, all these people are with him. So what is he doing exactly? Coronation.
Putting on a show.
But what is the problem with coronation? It doesn't say anything like this, right? The psukim are not talking about coronation. That's very, very important.
He's usurping his father's place, because how can they have a coronation when David is still Melech?
So there is no coronation here, but I would say it's like the preparation. The preparation, right? It's a preparation. He knows that his father, his days are numbered. And he actually quite careful not to crown himself at this point. The Tanakh, and I think quite deliberately, does not mention any shoresh of Mem Lamed Chaf, Melech. No. Yes, there is a demonstration of power, with no question. The people who came to see it, and I'm sure that the press will tomorrow say that Adoniah had this and this and this, and it's going to make lots of impression on the people. But the coronation did not happen yet. One comment that I want to say about Avshalom, after the Tanakh comparing to Avshalom, is that it's interesting to see that he is compared to Avshalom. Because yes, maybe he did not consult his father and so on. However, Avshalom rebelled against his father. Avshalom, basically, if you remember, after the Atzah of Achitophel, he was just about to kill his father. Like, this is serious. Adoniah, no. He was waiting to the Shiva, or after the Shiva. But he did not try to replace his father at the end of life. I'm not saying it's nice, I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's strange to me a little bit that Adoniah and Avshalom are compared, and clearly the Tanakh tried to compare them. To say what he did is not very different from what Avshalom did, and here I will just raise the question, why the Tanakh compare them together? They are different. They are different. We are going to discuss it later. Natan, that we know as a Navi, the person who said that Dvar Hashem, we are going to see now another aspect of his personality, a very shrewd person. Vayomer Natan el Batsheva em Shlomo leimor. Natan comes el Batsheva, the mother of Shlomo, that Natan want him to be the next king. And he said, didn't you hear? Halo shamat? כי מלאך אדוניהו בן חגית ואדוננו דוד לא ידע. What is he doing? Exaggerate a little bit the story. He adds things that never happened. Right? הלא שמעת כי מלאך אדוניהו בן חגית ואדוננו דוד לא ידע. And there is a play on the words, as I said the last time. הלא שמעת כי מלאך אדוניהו ואדוננו דוד לא ידע. And by the way, you see how he tried to push her. First of all, he said, הוא מלאך כבר. And he doesn't call David Melech, he called him Adonenu. Why? What does he try to hint?
He's not the king anymore.
He's not a king anymore. Basically, if Adoniah is a new king, then David, yes, he's very important, he's our master, but he's not the king anymore. ועתה, לכי יעצך עצה. Let me give you an advice. I don't come as a Navi, but I come as a friend and advisor. ומלתי את נפשך ואת נפש בנך שלמה. This is serious, because you have to save your soul and your son's soul. As we explained many, many times, this was not just to become, second place or a loser of the kingdom. this was indeed something that was very, very dangerous. And I'll tell you how do I know that it was very dangerous. In Perek Bet, or no, in the end of Perek Aleph, I want you to read what happened after Shlomo and everything happened to Gil. So, after Adoniah realized that David apparently crowned Shlomo in the 6th page, Pasuk Nun, it says, do you have it, Pasuk Nun?
Yeah.
50. ואדוניהו ירא מפני שלמה. So now, boom, everything changed around. Shlomo is a king, Adoniah is a loser. ויקום וילך ויחזק בקרנות המזבח. So what Adoniah is doing is running to the Mishkan and he hold in קרנות המזבח. Why in קרנות המזבח? Because קרנות המזבח are like עיר מקלט, a person who is holding the corners of the Mizbeach, you cannot kill him on the Mizbeach. So this was like a shelter from being killed by Shlomo. Okay. I don't ask you about Shlomo and Adoniah, but what does it tell you about Adoniah? The moment he hears about Shlomo, he runs to save his life.
He would have killed Shlomo.
What?
He would have killed his brother.
You understand? He does what he would do to Shlomo.
Yeah.
So he says, well, I know what I would do to Shlomo, so I have to save now my life because that's what apparently Shlomo is going to do to me. Sometimes you can see from what the other people are going to do, what they had in mind. And let me tell you, I do believe that the whole refugee problem today in the world is exactly a reflection of what we read here. Why are the Arabs like left their villages and their cities? And Ben Gurion said, no person who stayed will be killed. As it was proved in Ramla and Lod and many, many places. Today, the Arabs are part of Medinat Israel. You might like it or not, but they are citizens, they are prospering. I don't think that you will find one Israeli Arab who would like to immigrate to the Palestinian Authority. We didn't find even one person like this. They just want their cousins to come to Israel, but no one wants to leave Israel and to live with his brothers. What happened? Why they ran away? Because they saw that the Israelis will do to them what they plan to do to the Israelis. And it's so horrible, so it's better to flood. That's exactly what's the story. A person, you know what a person had in his head from his reaction to the opposite. That's exactly what happened here. So Natan understood all this. Why did he exaggerate and say that Adoniah already malach? Because it's only a matter of time. And basically he said, since it might happen every moment, I am telling you, the moment you will be the king, your life and the life of Shlomo are nothing. You are gone, basically. And therefore, he advised her the following, Lechi ובואי אל המלך דוד. ואמרתי אליו, הלא אתה אדוני המלך, נשבעת לאמתך לאמור, כי שלמה בנך ימלוך אחריי, והוא ישב על כסאי, ומדוע מלך אדוניהו. So just read the translation and you tell me what the advice that he gives her. What basically he tells her to tell him. And by the way, you can see from here that apparently Bathsheba and David at this point did not have much in common, because she has to go, they were not talking to each other, and you can see it already like from the story of Abishag. If they had relations with David and Bathsheba, no one need Abishag. He was removed from people and from his wife and was completely like passive and in his deathbed. So what is the advice? What he tells her to tell him?
He made a promise.
What are the buttons she has to press?
Yeshua.
Guilt.
Guilt, right? shvua. So there is a religious issue here that David apparently made a shvua. Natan knows it because remember that Natan told David HaMelech that his son that was born after the story with Bathsheba is going to be his successor. So we don't know about what David did to Bathsheba, but it's easy to imagine that after he heard the nevuah from Natan, he promised Bathsheba that her son is going to be the successor of him. So this was one, the shvuah. Umadua malach Adoniyahu, what that's a guilt. What is the button she presses? Like, you replaced your shvuah. Because the assumption is that
You allowed it.
if Adoniah is the king, apparently you allowed it. And you broke your promise to me. And the shvuah to Hashem, that you made to Hashem. And he said, listen, I have the whole plan. הנה עודך מדברת שם עם המלך, as his wife, and on a former שבועה, ואני אבוא אחרייך ומילאתי את דברייך. Why Natan has to come and to repeat and to get involved here? What was his concern? Why Natan is promising her that he will come and will back her up? Why? It was essential part of the plan. What was the concern of Natan?
He won't listen.
Okay, he's not going to listen to her. Or
she wouldn't go quickly.
Or
She wouldn't go quickly.
yeah, but he said that he will come only after she will talk to him.
Well, he's a Navi, so he's going to bring the force of his.
So why doesn't he go right away
First.
to David himself and tell him the whole story? Why he uses Bathsheba? That's a big question
Because
that
it
we are going
brings
to
him
see.
back to himself. Why he, his whole life, this is what this is how he operated.
That's a very good point that I'm going to expand over. But it's very true.
Well, he needs her to refresh his memory. That's when she's in
So
front of him.
some indeed of the Mefarshim say that David was so old, and we know that sometimes old people forget what they say.
Wasn't he like 50 or 70 or something?
He was 70, but he was, you see, from the beginning, he was like 150 years old.
That was very good.
It's not of today, you know what?
7 years old, a young
My
man.
granddad didn't deal with this.
Here we go.
You know what, we read about David, but really he had very difficult life. Like, obviously, he had some amazing points, high points in his life. And he's David HaMashiach, David Melech Israel, Chai V'Kayam. You know what, his life, especially the last few years of his life, you know what?
Tough.
I can understand how a person like losing years, every year is like 10, Avshalom, and his close people, and the story with Amnon, and the story with Bathsheba, it's not easy. And you know what, it influenced him very bad, yes.
But it doesn't seem to me that he's as out of it as we're saying, because as soon as Natan speaks to him, he takes action.
Well,
We're not up to there.
let's
We
not
know.
get there, because this is the crux of the shir. What happened here? That David HaMelech, from a person like who cannot move, who doesn't say a word, became so active like the old David HaMelech. What happened here? That's a very interesting question that we are going to.
This is similar to when Absalom did what he did. He was also passive, and then he came back and he did
That's
this.
good that you remember. That's exactly also happened with Avshalom. At the beginning, David just gave up on everything and he said, you know, it's my fault, everything that happened, and let's forget about it. And at a certain point, where he see that it's not the punishment of Hashem, but Avshalom took his initiative, as we explained, he understands that the merit of Avshalom is not a punishment that was promised by Natan HaNavi. This is a political agenda taken by his son, and from this moment on he said, well, that's not part of my plan. My plan is to get punished by Hashem, but the moment he realized that Avshalom is running a completely different agenda, at this point he turned around. But here it's even more interesting, because physically and mentally David is not a capable person anymore, and something happened in the midst of the perek, and he became extremely active, extremely sharp, and astute and
So is this-
understand what is going to happen.
So this is like shock therapy?
Yeah, we are going to see it. It was a shock. Yeah, absolutely, and even more than that we are going to see, I think. I do think that Natan was afraid of something else that happened many, many times with leaders. And Levi Eshkol once said to a person who came, Levi Eshkol was the second prime minister in Israel after Ben Gurion, and he was actually a very successful one because many of the national initiative like the Movil Artzi and many other things was actually led by Eshkol, who was not a charismatic person, but he ran the Milchemet Sheshet Hayamim. Basically, he was the prime minister, and he's somehow what he did is not recognized, was not recognized because he was not Ben Gurion, he was not Moshe Dayan, he was not this charismatic people, but he did quite a lot. So one time someone came to him and he said, "But you promised me." He said, "I promised you, but I did not promise you to fulfill it." So the same thing might happen here. You know, leaders are promising too many things. You know that, especially when they need you. The moment after the day after the election, I promised. I did not promise to fulfill it, and that's exactly what happened here. Natan was concerned that Bathsheba will come and David will remember and he will say, "You know what? I can't remember. You see, I'm like here, like I can't remember that he will deny it because you know David has no koach. You know what? I can't remember. Adoniah Malach. Okay, so it will be Adoniah. So Natan said, "I'm going to come, and I'm not going to let David the easy street of denying everything that happened. I'm going to remind him that he made the promise, and I will come. Yes, not as a Navi, but a person who knows what happened behind the scenes." ותבוא בת שבע אל המלך החדרה, והמלך זקן מאוד. Again, like זקן מאוד, and it says just 70. ואבישג השונמית משרת את המלך. And Avishag is there משרת את המלך. Why is it important to say that? Because there is a tension here. Two women next to one king, to one husband. There is a tension here. And what is the purpose of the tension? We are going to see soon. Not soon, I'm sorry, we are going to see in Perek Bet. It's very, very important to understand what happened between Adoniah and Bathsheba later regarding Avishag. ותיקות בת שבע ותשתחו למלך. So she bowed down. ויאמר המלך מה לך? You see that, like, Shalom Aleichem, I didn't see you for ages. He cannot speak. Malach, it's like, oh, what do you want? He can't say anything. It's terrible to read this psukim. ותאמר לו אדוני, אתה נשבעת בהשם אלוקיך לאמתך, כי שלמה בנך ימלוך אחריי והוא ישב על כיסא. You promised me, in the name of Hashem, that Shlomo, my son, is going to be the successor of you. ואתה, הנה אדוניה מלך, ואתה אדוני המלך לא ידעת. Adoniah became the king. She follows what Natan told her to use the shoresh of malach. ואתה אדוני המלך לא ידעת. It's nice, it's called apophora. אתה אדוני מלך, ואתה אדוני המלך לא ידעת. Which is like to highlight two facts. Adoniah is the king, and I'm sure that you didn't know. Did she follow Natan's advice or not? What do you mean?
She added her own.
What do you mean?
Oh, she added the Tamil Chleda. He didn't say that to tell her that.
But you see the different tone between what Natan advised her and the feminine voice that she uses, which is different. This is like,
Why? I think it's one way.
it's something to learn how to negotiate properly. We have to read it very carefully. Natan told her to push the buttons of guilt, and actually to talk quite in a chutzpahdik way to David. What did she say? And what did he say? He told her, "אתה נשבעת, שלמה בנך ימלוך אחריי והוא ישב על כיסאי, ומדוע מלך אדוניהו?" Like actually blaming. Why מלך אדוניהו? Basically, implicit in it, you knew about it and you did not stop it. That's like a good way to blame someone and to give him like a trip guilt with no question, right? She doesn't do it. What is she doing?
You didn't know.
I assume that you didn't know. It sounds completely different. Much softer. No blaming. On the contrary, like we are both in the same boat because things are happening without our knowledge. Someone else at the outside is playing the game, and I'm sure that you didn't know about it. She still keep his honor. If it happened because you didn't know. I'm sure about it. And what a difference it makes between to come to the king and say, "Oh, how could you do that?" Or to say, "I'm sure you didn't know about it." And remember that we are talking about Bathsheba, who, she had a history with David that we are going to discuss. And she still have this honor and respect to David. And I would say one more thing. Especially when another woman took her place, Abishag Shunamit, she could be much more aggressive and talking harshly to David. And even in her presence of Abishag, she talks in a very modest, respectful way, which we should appreciate. And she tells him the story. Now, why the Tanakh is telling us? Because she was smart. If David doesn't know anything, so she has to provide him with the details. And that's exactly why the story appears here again in Pasuk Yutet. ויסבח שור ומרי וצאן לרוב, ויקרא לכל בני המלך, ולאביתר הכהן, ליואב שר הצבא, ולשלמה עבדך לא קרא. Now, this is really interesting. Compare what really happened in Pasuk Yutet, what she is telling him, and what really happened in reality, as we saw before, in Pasuk Tet. So this is Yutet, and what happened in Pasuk Tet and Yutet. So regarding Vayisbach Shor Umeri Vetzon Larov, she again a little bit exaggerated because it sounds if it's Larov that there are many people over there. She tells him about Bnei HaMelech, which position him as number one of Bnei HaMelech. What else? She talks about Eviatar HaKohen and Yoav Sar HaTzava. Who does she omit? Right? Anshe Yehuda. Why she omit them? Why didn't she say also when Anshe Yehuda? If she exaggerates, she exaggerate about Larov, Tzon Umeri Larov, so she should give him the details about Anshe Yehuda that actually did happen. Why she omitted it? And you already see that she's very smart. She knows she chooses her words very carefully here.
Because that might
What?
that might frighten him or intimidate him if the men of Yehuda have come.
Exactly.
To spare.
On one hand, she wants to show him how urgent the situation is, but she don't want him to get desperate, and to say, you know what? Too bad, it's too late. If all Anshe Yehuda are there, what can I do now? Because we remember that Anshe Yehuda were tough in nature. And David actually, when he reassumed his kingship, he had to negotiate especially with Bnei Yehuda. If she would tell him that Bnei Yehuda there, she was afraid that David said, it's done. I cannot do anything right now. So she know how to tell him that the important people are there, but she tried to cover the fact that already actually many people are there outside. Yes?
She also did mention that Natan Hanavi was there. was not called. And I think she was doing that also very cleverly, so that when he came in, David doesn't think he's coming in because he's been excluded by the other side.
Nice.
He has more credibility because he was
Very
not
nice.
part of the story.
Very nice. Very nice.
Or did
Yep. Right. Very good. So Natan is not there. Very good. So she prepare because she know what comes next. So she doesn't want David to think that it's all like they have agenda, like it, like a personal agenda. But she tells him the facts, and she knows that Natan is just about to come. So what does she say? Ve'ata Adoni HaMelech. She reminds him, you are still the Melech, which is interesting. On one hand, she said that Adoni HaMalach, but she said, but really, Ve'ata Adoni HaMelech. You see the play on words, because it's not Adoniya HaMelech, but it's Adoni HaMelech. You are the king, and you still have the power to do something. Einei kol Israel alecha. Everyone is watching you. להגיד להם מי ישב על כיסא אדוני המלך אחריו. She reminds him that he is a king. והיה כי שכב אדוני המלך עם אבותיו, when you are going to die, which was clear to everyone there, והייתי אני ובני שלמה חטאים. Let's read the translation. And I and my son shall be considered offenders. Offenders of what? What? Offenders of what?
The new kingship.
But what is Chataim? What is a sin? What did they offend?
They were against.
Against Adoniah.
Yeah.
So there are many perushim here for the word Chataim. The most important one, and that I think Rashi said, Chataim towards Adoniah. It would be considered that he will consider us as Chataim, that we want to be, I want to be the king, because it's well known apparently that David did the Shua to Shlomo, or about Shlomo. So now Adoniah will say, first of all, I have to get rid from Shlomo. So Chataim to Adoniah. It could be also Chataim to Hashem, because you promised, and if I'm not going to pursue you to fulfill your promise, so I will be chote in a way of lifnei ver lo titen michshol, namely, like because of me, because I did not push it strong enough or hard enough, you could not fulfill your shvua. So Chataim in the way that we, through us, you are going to be chote. And we know that according to the Jewish law, if you help the person to sin, you are also a sinner. Lifnei ver lo titen michshol. We are going to see one more explanation, right? והנה עודנה מדברת עם המלך, ונתן הנביא בא. As she talks to the king, Natan, as promised, he comes. ויגידו למלך לאמור, הנה נתן הנביא. ויבוא לפני המלך, וישתחו למלך על אפיו הארצה. So first Bathsheba, and now Natan. They basically are telling him, you are the king, because you don't bow to any person. The king, yes. And he tells him the following story. כי ירד היום, ויאמר נתן אדוני המלך, אתה אמרת אדוניהו ימלוך אחריי והוא ישב על כיסי. Apparently you say that Adoniyahu is going to be the next king. How do I know? כי ירד היום ויסבח שור ומריב וצאן לרוב ויקרא לכל בני המלך ולשרי הצבא ולאביתר הכהן. And again, he omit Yoav. He again afraid that Yoav will hear, that Amelech will hear Yoav. He also will have some doubts about it. Did she mention Yoav? I can't remember. No. Yoav is the person that you don't mention his name, I think. Am I right or wrong?
She does. She does.
Yeah, וליואב שר הצבא. She said, ולאביתר הכהן וליואב שר הצבא. Okay, she was not afraid apparently.
He said the Sarah Tzachar.
Okay. Mhm. By the way, the pasuk is very like, now I see it for the first time, pasuk Yutet can be read in few ways. ויזבח שור ומריב וצאן לרוב, ויקרא לכל בני המלך, ולאביתר הכהן וליואב שר הצבא ולשלמה עבדך לא קרא. So what is it like? Is it going אביתר הכהן יואב שר הצבא ושלמה? You can understand it this way too. Or he called בני המלך אביתר and Yoav, which indeed happened. But she said it in a way that it's very like hard to ambiguous. Yeah, it's the first time that I see it. Anyway,
The English takes it the other way.
oh, of course, no, that is the reality. Of course, that's what happened.
Yeah.
But she said it in a way that maybe like confused a little bit David. Natan said, "Veli ani avdecha." Sorry. כי ירד היום ויזבח שור ומריב וצאן לרוב, ויקרא לכל בני המלך ולשרי הצבא ולאביתר הכהן, והנם אוכלים ושותים לפניו. ויאמרו יחי המלך אדוניהו. This never happened. But he like exaggerated a little bit more. As I said, it was very very shrewd. ויאמרו יחי המלך אדוניהו. ולי אני עבדך, ולצדוק הכהן, ולבניהו בן יהוידע, ולשלמה עבדך לא קרא. אם מת אדוני המלך נהיה הדבר הזה, so I must assume that you approved אדוניה to be the next king. ולא הודעת את עבדך. מי ישב על כיסא אדוני המלך אחריו? You never told me like who is going to be. How could you do it behind my back? I'm your Navi. I'm the person that bring the words of Hashem to you. It's interesting that he doesn't say anything about the Shvuah, right? He doesn't say a word about the Shvuah that David gave to Bathsheba. Why?
She already did it.
She already said he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Maybe he did not. Maybe it was not known. Maybe Natan Hanavi knew it by Nevuah that he gave the Shvuah to Bathsheba, but this was something between husband and wife. And maybe this was the concern of Natan before, that if it will be only between Bathsheba and David, he will be able to deny it because no one knew about it. So he had to pretend that he doesn't know anything about it. Maybe, I don't know how to read it, but it's interesting that he pushes completely different button than Bathsheba. Bathsheba is talking about the Shvuah. He's talking about like, how could you do it to me? Like to go behind my back and to crown Adoniah. From this moment on, David is changing completely. ויען המלך דוד ויאמר, קראו לי לבת שבע, ותבוא לפני המלך ותעמוד לפני המלך. So he started to give commands. Call me Bathsheba. She stand in front of the king. וישבע המלך ויאמר, חי השם אשר פדה את נפשי מכל צרה. The person who could not talk, when she came in, he asked him, מה לך? And now, כי כאשר נשבעתי לך בהשם אלוקי ישראל לאמור, and apparently he remembered very well this שבועה, and now he's doing it in front of another person to make sure that she will not be afraid that he will forget it. כי שלמה בנך ימלוך אחריי, והוא ישב על כיסי תחתיי, כי כן אעשה היום הזה. I promise you, not only that you will be the next king, I'm going to do it now. I'm not going to wait with it. That's quite a long speech already of David, but he does not stop there. ותיכות בת שבע אפיים ארצה, ותשתחו למלך, ותאמר יחי אדוני המלך דוד לעולם. Again, she reminded him, you are the king, and by appointing my son, יחי המלך דוד לעולם. Because she knew, everyone knew that he's going to die, but when we say David melech Israel chai v'kayam, means the idea of the successors of David, they will be forever, and we are still waiting for melech HaMashiach. ויאמר המלך דוד, קראו לי לצדוק הכהן, ולנתן הנביא, ולבניהו בן יהוידע ויבואו לפני המלך. He became the commander. Call me all the important people who were not invited, צדוק, נתן, בניהו בן יהוידע, ויבואו לפני המלך. ויאמר המלך להם, קחו עמכם את עבדי אדוניכם, והרכבתם את שלמה בני על הפרדה אשר לי, והורדתם אותו אל גיחון. They are over there in Ein Rogel. You are going to take him to the second, the other Ma'ayan, the Gichon, which today is in Ir David. Beautiful to see it. It was like, you can see it today, the Gichon. The Gichon today is actually, it's not open. The Gichon is in Ir David. In Ir David, it's covered. And he said, go to מעיין הגיחון, ומשך אותו שם צדוק הכהן, ונתן הנביא למלך על ישראל, so the Kohen is going to anoint him, ותקעתם בשופר, ואמרתם יחי המלך שלמה. I want you to announce that Shlomo is the king. ועליתם אחריו, and he instruct them exactly what to do next. הוא בא וישב על כיסאי, והוא ימלוך תחתיי. ואותו ציוויתי להיות נגיד על ישראל ועל יהודה. Somehow we apparently understand that Adoniah is with the people of Yehuda, and he says Shlomo is going to be the person on Israel and Yehuda. Not only Yehuda, not only Israel, he's going to unite the kingdom again as I did before. And by the way, the name even Shlomo is Shalem. He tried to make Am Israel as one body, united.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Why did David wait and allow a crisis like this to happen?
Because he was out of
He
it.
knew he was old and he knew that he had to make a decision for the future.
He was out
That's
of it.
an excellent question that we will keep to the beginning of next year. Because I want to present indeed few questions along your question. This is number one. Why David was waiting until like the last minute? Listen, if all this would not happen, and actually this is interesting, if Adoniah would do nothing, it sounds like he will get the melucha. Actually, the one who caused Adoniah not to be the king is himself. Let's imagine that Adoniah is not doing anything. He's not angry. He doesn't make
A feast.
Natan and Bathsheba angry. David passed away. After the Leviah, they are looking for the person. Naturally, it's going to be Adoniah. As we said the last time, Adoniah knew that he's not from the material of kings, you know. He knew that. And therefore, he tried to force the people to see him as the king. And that's exactly what led to his failure. Exactly, by the way, what happened to Absalom. If Absalom was waiting, he was the next in line. He might be the next king. His attempt to get it too soon caused him to fail. And it's such in a strike contrast to David himself. Remember, David had many opportunities to become the king and to kill Shaul. And he was actually anointed by Shmuel. David always said, until Hashem is telling me in public to become the king, I don't assume anything to myself, although he knew that he much better than Shaul at the time. So David actually became such a king because he was waiting until Hashem, he knew, until Hashem will make him the king and he will publicize it, he is not the king. His two children, Absalom and Adoniah, are doing exactly the opposite. So this is question number one. Question number two is, indeed, what triggered David from a completely passive person? And the Tanakh is telling us, now you can maybe even understand why the Tanakh is telling us the whole story about Abishag Shunamit. What did it serve to the story? Tell me that he was like an old guy, he was about to die, and that's it. What is this whole story? It's a strange story with Abishag. It shows that his condition was so deteriorated, like beyond any normal person. Like this was a person who was hafted, in coma basically. And when we read the second part of the story, it's like striking how a person who was completely inactive became in 1 second, like giving orders, telling exactly what to do. He's telling Bathsheba, he's telling Natan Hanavi, he's telling his people, go here, go there, do that. What happened here? That's very, very strange. And the Tanakh is doing it purposely. Yes. Any idea?
Yeah. My feeling is that although he comes across as though before this, as though he is like senile, I think he's depressed. And when they can pull him out of the depression by bringing a crisis to his attention, then he comes through. Otherwise, if he
I'm not a
really were
psychiatrist,
set off,
it might
never
be
do this.
true, it might be true, but it looks like something here happened that like made a major shift. And what is this thing? What happened here? What triggers such a change? Because it's a completely different David. The David of the old times. Yes. Why I have a question. Why David indeed is so quickly like changing? What let's try to enter the psychology of David HaMelech. What happened here?
You have to know, why did David really choose Shlomo?
He did not choose him. It was actually Hashem who told Natan that Shlomo will be the successor.
So actually, so he basically, when he promised Bathsheba that Shlomo was going to be the successor, that was a Nevuah effect. So he knew
Right.
that that's how it has
Right.
to be. So he felt that he has to do that. That's basically he's dying, but he's got one last tough.
This was his budget.
Okay,
This was done
this is
his budget.
highly important.
Sorry,
Your
this-
comment is highly
this is
important
David
because we are
HaMelech.
going to see like what was the motive of each person here. Natan Hanavi, he knew the truth. He got it from Hashem. Shlomo supposed to be the next successor, right? But the question is, how you bring a person in the condition of David to do something about it? Because it's one thing that Hashem promised, but it has to be on earth. Someone has to run the plan and to fulfill it. How you are doing it? And that was the dilemma of Natan and Bathsheba. How we take a person who cannot do anything and we change things around. And apparently they found the thing, which we don't know what was it exactly, to change David completely. And remember, if it was only the Shua, David knew about the Shua. David knew about the
But he
Shua.
didn't know. but he
This
didn't-
is
sorry.
David HaMelech's budget. This pushed him all his life, that I'm not going to be king. No one can take the ruler, leadership unless Hashem wants it. That's what motivated him all the time. And this is kingship and Hashem's ruling, what Hashem wants in terms of kingship. Shlomo, so that triggered what always triggered him, I think.
My claim is, and we won't have enough time to develop it. Let's keep it like suspense for the next time. There was here something that they said that could bring a dead person from the grave, basically. It was so powerful. We read it and we don't look into the words and the ideas that actually they express. You have to understand there was a plan here. Natan, Bathsheba, they push a button that, as I tell you, like even a person who is unconscious, a person who does not have any more like will to run the kingdom, he does these words. Change everything.
They give him back his honor by coming to him to solve an issue. Like, he's been treated as though he's useless.
And maybe he was. Yes.
She's telling him, you're going to die soon. She's actually telling him. "Vayakish Chava melech im avotav."
So this
So
I,
maybe
Mhm.
pushes him to that.
Yeah, but he knew,
But
he
maybe
didn't
even
change so
before
much.
that, when Bathsheba says to him, "Ata nishbata b'Hashem," and he knows he's on his deathbed, and
She
he's
tells
thinking,
him.
well, but he also knows, if we're painting a picture that he's so weak, he's, if he's got like one foot in Olam Haba, and then she says to him, "Ata nishbata b'Hashem," maybe what woke up in him is, I'm gonna have to give a din v'chashbon at some point very soon. It's very much in front of me.
And you know what? You actually say what most of them Farshim said. She managed to explain him that religiously to depart from the world, not able to fulfill his shua will be a terrible thing. And she reminded him, you know, you don't have much time to do it. So if you want at least to end on a good note, so to speak, so you have to fulfill your shua.
Or maybe it just woke him up also, because on the one hand, he's looking death in the face, and on the other hand, she's reminding him that you're going to be in the other world imminently, and that stirred in him to do what he had to do, to be able to go into Olam Haba with like a clean slate.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. I told you many times, my shiur, I try to see the Tanakh in this shiurim, not through the eyes of Rashi and the Mefarshim and even Chazal sometimes. This is a very powerful political story too. And as I say, there is no contradiction between the two. There are divine values that are coming here, but it runs, after all, like a TV series. Like, I mean, on earth, in the palace, you see a dying king, no power. Someone has to do something in order to revive him, to bring him to get a goal. And what was it? The next time I'm going to explain, I think in a very compelling way, what happened to David. How you can take a person that is just about to die and to revive him, like to give him this, like, how do they call it? Yeah? Like to make him like alive, like never be, like a young person.
I'm going to suggest
Yes.
Abishag.
Abishag, you see, she couldn't do anything.
There's a whole
Didn't tell, "Hamelech lo yeda'a," "Hamelech lo yeda'a," which is interesting, by the way, the use of the word, "Hamelech lo yeda'a," and what does she say to him? "V'adoni lo yada," right? So one is a physical one, "Hamelech lo yeda'a," he was not able even to have relation with her, and she's hinting to the mental state. "V'adoni lo yada," you don't know what's going on around you, which is interesting. But it was not Abishag. I think it was not Abishag. It was the appearance of Bathsheba, because as I said, Natan himself could come to David and demand that he will appoint Shlomo Melech. He uses Bathsheba. And you know, this
Well,
would
so
be a
it goes back to
why,
his youth when
why
he's-
Bathsheba was the key to
Because
change.
well,
Yeah.
what started with her. You saw her in the distance.
He had a passion.
Okay, let's keep it for next time. Think about it. I promise you next time I'm going to solve the mystery.
You know, it's money, sexuality, and power.
And therefore,
That's the combination.